Fun fact. During the early Stone Age period, when I was but a wee little ignorant lad, Harry Potter was a satanic property. Yes, it was essentially nothing more than a vehicle through which devilish propaganda could be pushed onto children to make sure that they would grow up into people that lit copious quantities of candles in front of their mirrors and danced naked, in honour of Lord Lucifer, of course. This may sound a pinch wild, and frankly, even at the time, it was considered a little bit absurd, but everything was absurd during that particular period of human history. Harry Potter was obviously satanic in nature, as was freely clothing and video games. Oh god, video games. I mean, did you know there was a video game title called Doom? Oh yes, in which you visited hell? Oh, as if you needed any further proof, am I right? And Dungeons and Dragons. You might as well spend your time hanging out at graveyards after dark, chanting prayers to the deep ones to play that terrible, terrible board game. And to be fair, considering how the world turned out, maybe they were onto something. But my point is, back in the day, it was a small fringe minority of extreme Christians who were of the opinion that the world was going to hell in a handbasket, and properties like Horror Harry Potter was a leading cause for this, whereas today, there is a group of fringe wokist idiots who believe that Harry Potter is bringing the world to its knees and leading to hell in a handbasket. The horseshoe is not so much a U-shape as it is a pure circle these days. It no longer resembles the favoured footwear of equine beasts across the globe. It is indeed literally just a spiral. As this is one of many here, a gaming subreddit. Oh, gaming subreddit. Somehow that doesn't feel like quite the correct term for our gaming circle jerk with the pride flag, of course, here, the conservative one, at least, thank God, with the power fist grabbing a hold of steam, right there, as they are proudly claiming responsibility for review bombing, no, tag bombing, apparently, Hogwarts Legacy, which has managed to get tags like villain protagonist, capitalism, magic, and non-safe for work. Now, I gotta say, once again, the left has done a fantastic job of convincing me to purchase a game, as I have already pre-ordered Hogwarts Legacy and am now planning to stream the game, because frankly, a video game in which I get to be the villain protagonist using the magical power of capitalism to have, presumably, non-safe for work interactions with a wide variety of witches, magical women in general, and perhaps even monster girls, well, consider me sold. Though, I must make this clear here, YouTube. This is not technically a hentai game, so I'm not recommending it on that basis, even though the tags do sound rather alluring. But the intended effect of this is being to reduce the game's sales and chase people away from buying it, presumably by going like, this is still a fairly kid-oriented property, right? To make sure that grandma doesn't pick up this vile video game for little Timmy by marking it as non-safe for work, including a wide variety of others here on the Gaming Circle Jerk subreddit too. Capitalism, villain protagonist, those we saw earlier, including transphobic, Nazis, anti-Semitism, anti-Semitic, hashtag not my Harry Potter, Karen's game, dead dove do not eat, which I presume is communist code for something, bigotry, turf, and J.K. Rowling is a turf. Now, the R Gaming Circle Jerk has also... I love this image. For some reason, they have really obsessed about this game. Like, I mean, properly obsessed about this game right here. Everybody is welcome except gamers. Oh god. Like, this incidentally is how I know that wokeism is probably going to be dead in another 5 years, a decade or so, because it has reached the peak cringe of full-on conservative Christianity. It's just But yeah, here we are, and it turns out that tagging Hogwarts Legacy with things like transphobia, anti-Semitisms, villain protagonist, capitalism, and NSFW has made it the biggest hit on Steam right now. Hogwarts Legacy is currently the best-selling game on Steam. Oh, baby Jesus, please continue to bless us with your wisdom and your sense of humor, as it turns out here. Hogwarts Legacy is selling like hotcakes. Now, it would be disingenuous of me to say that it was specifically because of stuff like this, or because of these tags, but somewhere deep down I can't feel but I can't help but feel a little bit of hope. I'm joking, YouTube. I genuinely am. It's just like, I remember the rules for radicals back in the day, right? The idea that you push the negative until it becomes the positive, right? And think things like Nazi, transphobia, bigotry. These are practically badges of honor these days. Any cancellation, any cancel culture juice that these things might have has been so thoroughly squeezed out that it is having the reverse effect. When you call somebody a Nazi or a fascist today, it makes normal people look at that accusation and go, wow, he must have something reasonable to say if you're attacking him with this bullshit, surely. And Hogwarts Legacy is currently reaping the benefits of that, as the game genuinely does appear to be selling like absolutely mad. And I imagine there are quite a lot of coping and seething people around right about now. The best part is, okay, here's the thing. J.K. Rowling herself is a strident feminist. She would absolutely have been on the complete other side of this political divide a few years ago, but because she has the ridiculous notion that woman means adult human female or something silly like that, she is now the arch-enemy numero uno of the Wokist hordes, who call her a TERF, which means trans-exclusionary feminist. This means that they are of the opinion that trans women are not actually real women. The horrors indeed. And so J.K. Rowling has gone from being the darling of the left to being, again, the literal personification of the dude downstairs with the pitchfork and the horns. So, I suppose we genuinely have come full circle. Unironically so. There was even the little bit before Christmas where J.K. Rowling apparently tweeted out Merry Turfmas, which caused quite the stir as well. But the game itself has shown no real sign of being anti-woke at all. In fact, it's demonstrated the precise opposite. I haven't seen this myself, but apparently in-game you've got a character creator where it does the usual thing, where you don't pick a gender anymore. There are no males or females or anything like that. Instead there are like body shapes or forms or nonsense like that, and you can choose to be male or female, because apparently the game has a dorm system, and that can be independent of your body. Which makes me think that I'm going to be playing a very clearly representative male character, and yet I'm going to be choosing female for some reason. I don't know why. But that too will be funny, as Hogwarts Legacy seems to be a wokist game for all I can tell, or better yet, perhaps it is simply a game that wants to present the world of Harry Potter as the world of Harry Potter. A radical notion, I know, yet it would be kinda neat, wouldn't it? Because I remember, were they called anything particular? But I remember there were Harry Potter games way back in the day. In fact, I believe they were movie tie-in games, and I played one or two of them, and they weren't bad. They were basically a collection of mini-games, and then you'd walk around Hogwarts as Harry a little bit, and you'd do some stuff, and you'd fight some bosses, and there were some cutscenes and shit. And it seemed entirely decent. It didn't seem like anything bad, but then again, I played them when I was but a kid, so God only knows how awful they could have been. But I do kind of like the world of Harry Potter, because what J.K. Rowling has managed to do, and very well as well, is that she has created a world that feels genuinely magical. Like everything has some sort of derpy dumbass name that sounds like it has some more meaning to it. It sounds like something, well, like, how do I put it? When you hear it, you wonder, what is that thing? What is the mystery of that thing? What is the legacy of that thing? What is the lore about that thing, you know? It manages to capture your imagination in a beautifully effective way. Hogwarts 2 is this enormous, intricate, magical castle with all of this nonsense like living paintings and stairwells that change and magical maps and all kinds of legends, and there's basilisks and there's trolls and there's ghosts, and it's a world of magic and wonder and cool nonsense, frankly. And how will that do today? That's a big question, isn't it? I did the video of the death of fantasy a little while ago. Will Hogwarts survive the encounter with the modern day? Because, I mean, the game itself, again, it looks like good old-fashioned Wokist nonsense, frankly. The setting is painfully diverse. It's, I believe it was set in the 1800s or something. 1800s England. And yes, it looks like downtown California, like everything else does these days. Everyone is diverse, everybody is inclusive. You're probably going to have black, white, disabled teachers, you're going to have lesbian teachers, you're going to have they, them teachers, you're going to have people introducing themselves with their pronouns, God only knows, it's probably going to happen. And yet, if it manages to at least maintain the majesty, the magic of Hogwarts and the universe, then that would make, again, a certain amount of sense, because, well, these two are nonsensical things. You could actually have a teacher in the Harry Potter universe introduce themselves as they, them, and basically be like they drink a magic potion at the end of the day, and it randomizes their gender and appearance, or something absurd like that. That could be a character moment. Now, the issue is that I already know how that is going to be attacked by the Wokists online hordes, claiming that it minimizes their identity because, you know, blood and soil brothers, which is apparently the current day narrative of the left. Which is funny enough in and of itself, isn't it? But it'll be interesting to see. Like, I'm halfway looking forward to it now. Again, you tag a game with shit like this and you're gonna get me very interested. I'm joking, YouTube. Calm down, please. I was about to say Steam there for a moment, but Steam probably isn't listening. I mean, my god, what an adventure this must be. You've got non-safe-for-work Nazis that you fight as the villain protagonist, which means that you must be even worse, presumably, with the powers of magical capitalism as you spread anti-Semitism across a world of Karens. Oh, and there'll be some bigotry involved. I don't know, maybe the actual good guy will show up and go like, you're a bigot, and as the villain protagonist you just nod your head and go like, yes, and then you fight. Oh, and then J.K. Rowling shows off, just for a second or so, she flies by on a broom and goes like, trans women aren't real women, and then zips off up into the sky. It sounds like a trip if nothing else, doesn't it? Oh god. And hey, at least it's a nice economic success, if nothing else. If the game turns out to be absolute shit, at least they'll have made off with all of the money before anyone can truly realize what a genius little marketing move all of this was. Good god. Do let me know what you guys think as well, if you'll be checking out Hogwarts Legacy, if all of this has convinced you to at the very least give it a charitable interpretation, which it certainly has for me, and yeah, no, I definitely think I'll be streaming this because this sounds hilarious. Until next time, I've been Arch, thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.